Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming Central. Today, Camden and I are going to be rating every single weapon slash item in Left 4 Dead 2. I guess we're just gonna start things off here. So looks like first thing we have is the adrenaline. Honestly, the adrenaline is probably the most useful health item besides the medkit. Gets you through the water easily, especially on Swamp Fever when you're pretty much in the water for the entire second part, or at least the second half.
Yeah, definitely
Um,
agree.
but yeah, and you can heal faster with it. You can res your teammates faster. Definitely a really good item. I would say it's pretty high.
Where would you rate it
Probably
though?
it's A tier,
All
high of
right.
A tier.
All right. Next up, we have the AK, classic AK, part of the main three like trio of like main three rifles that we have in the game. Definitely a good one. Jack, in your rifles video, what did you say? Did you say the AK was better? Like, what did you say about the AK?
Well, I said the Desert Eagle was probably the best of the three, but of the between the M16 and the AK, I would say the AK is better.
Yeah, because it does shoot slower than the M60, which is the normal assault rifle, but it does make up for having slightly more damage. It's definitely a good
Yes.
weapon. It's very powerful if you pick it up, especially if you get like fire bullets equipped with it, or if you get the laser sight upgrade. It can be a pretty good one. Definitely put it in A tier for sure.
Alright, next up we have the combat shotgun, I believe. Or the auto, I can't really remember, but that is definitely a really good gun for pretty much everything. High amounts of damage, pretty easy. Using for like killing a witch, you could just go right up to her and shoot her like 4 times with that
Yeah,
headshot, and she'll be dead.
yeah,
So it's definitely an A tier gun
I
in
agree.
my book.
Definitely agree. And now we have our first of the few sniper rifles in this game. In my opinion, personally, I've never been a big sniper rifle fan, and I don't remember which sniper rifle this is because I don't think neither of us really use sniper rifles really, so
Yeah.
I don't really know what sniper rifle that one is. But if I remember correctly, honestly, sniper rifles in this game are not the best. Because Left 4 Dead 2 is more of like a fast-paced shooter game, and the sniper rifles just feel a little bit weird using them in like certain
Mhm.
situations. Because if you're dealing with a big horde, what are you gonna do with a sniper rifle up close? You can only do so much from far away as well. So not the best choice. I'll put it in C tier. And now Jack, off to you.
All right. What is that?
The
It
bat.
looks like the bat. Yeah. So the bat, I don't really use, but if it's like the first melee weapon, in the game, then yeah, I'll use it until I find a better one, like an axe or a katana. But the bat gets the work done. It's not terrible. I would give it a B tier.
All right, nice. Next up, we have the Boomer Bile, the first throwable out of the three throwables. Definitely a good one. Very, very good one.
Yes, very useful.
When you throw it, it attracts zombies and enemies to the cloud that it creates when thrown down, which makes it easy to deal with hordes. And if you throw it on a tank, you can attract all the zombies to attack the tank, which can make it quite useful. So yeah, I definitely put it at the bottom of A tier because it very much has
Yeah.
its uses.
All right, next up we have the chainsaw. Same with the bat. I don't really use the chainsaw, but it is one of the more unique melee weapons. It runs on that battery life, and it also gets the work done with the bat. But again, like I wouldn't use it. Like there's better melee weapons, especially because of that battery life. I probably couldn't use it for an entire campaign because I really do rely on my melee a lot.
Hmm.
So I mean, just same as the bat, I would just give it a B tier.
Yep. Next up, we have what I think is the Chrome Shotgun.
Yeah, Chrome
Definitely a good
shotgun.
one because this is like one of the only two shotguns you can really get like, at the very start of a campaign, and it's definitely a good one. Strong damage, shoots a little bit faster I think than the pump shotgun, but I think it downgrades a little bit in the damage wise. It shoots slightly
Yes.
faster, doesn't do as much damage as the pump, but it still definitely is good. It's good with like funneling in like horrors into like a small doorway, and you can just shoot them repeatedly. It definitely it's a gun that gets the job done.
Gets
Uh,
the job
it does
done.
get the job done. I would definitely say it's top of B tier in my opinion.
Yeah. Next up, we have the cola bottles. Well, doesn't do any damage. Certainly gets a lot of people killed on expert mode.
Yes.
Um, don't like it. D tier.
Yeah, I
Gets
don't
a
know
lot
what.
of people killed on expert.
Yeah, it does. All right, next we have the cricket bat, younger brother of the usual bat. I don't know if it's like actually better or not than the actual bat. I don't know, like
Yeah, we're gonna have to research that.
parent. I think the stats are slightly worse, but I mean it's a slightly harder one to find. It's for some reason I always seem to find it the most on like Swamp Fever and stuff like that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess it's an okay one. It's basically just like a bat but reskinned. So B tier it
Yeah.
goes.
Alright, next up we have the crowbar. This is one of the few melee I don't use, but you know,
Yeah.
obviously if it is the first melee I see, I will use it. I usually see this on campaigns like the Sacrifice for some reason. I really only see it on the Sacrifice. I use it
Yeah.
on there. I don't know why it's in that a lot, but don't really use it too much. I mean, it's pretty useful, but again, like there's better melee weapons. The range isn't that far. But you know, I
Yeah.
would just put it in like C tier.
Yeah.
But better than the sniper though, because the sniper's not very good.
Yeah.
So
There you go. All right, next up we have the defibrillator, which is part of like the main healing, and this thing is very powerful, mainly on expert and advanced because those are the hardest difficulties. You want to keep your team alive for as long as possible. Defibrillator got you because if a teammate goes down or you go down, someone can pick up the defibrillator, bring you back. You have immediate 50 HP. It's powerful again in expert and advanced, where definitely keeping your team alive as much as possible is very important.
yes.
So yeah, it's definitely up there. It's a very good one. I would say though it's top of B, pretty good one.
Alright, next up we have the dual pistols. I don't really use this. I used to a lot before I started using melee weapons, but I know for Left 4 Dead 1, there aren't any melees, so I'm kind of stuck with the dual pistols. But they aren't terrible. I just like again I wouldn't use them at all, like at this point. So I'll just say C tier. Like
Yeah.
nothing too crazy. Like it's not terrible, but again it's not the best.
All right, next up we have the explosive rounds. Now this one's an interesting one because obviously it gives your bullets the ability to create small explosions, which also adds a little bit of extra, like of a damage buff almost in a way. But the one thing is that it's very dangerous to use because it can kill you. Because if you use something on like it, if you use the explosive rounds on something like a shotgun, let's say, and you get up close to like a horde or even just a singular enemy, you shoot it, creates a large explosion. It doesn't just deal damage to the enemy, it also deals a lot of damage to you if you get too close to the explosion. So it's not really
Yeah.
best with short range weapons, but mid distance to I guess even sniper rifles I guess is where this thing mostly shines.
Yeah.
But in most cases when you're dealing with a horde like right in front of your face and you have a shotgun and you have explosive rounds, all I can say is just good luck with that because
Yeah.
that's definitely going to get you killed before the horde gets you. So but I would definitely, it still has its uses, so I'll put it in the very bottom of B tier.
Alright, next up we have this flammable can.
No idea what this is. No idea what this
Same
is.
as the I guess not the crowbar, but I have only seen this on the Sacrifice. It's
Really?
in the or is it? It's in the like the cargo bay
Oh.
lot thing
Yeah, I've
in the
literally no
first
idea what, I have
chapter.
no idea what this is.
It's I mean I always blow it up
Oh.
like for to be funny and stuff,
Mm.
but I it's just yeah, I
Just whatever.
there's no point to have this when you have literally the pipe bomb and the gas can and all that. So I mean, I'll just say D tier.
Yeah, okay. Next up, we have incendiary ammo, or as Ellis calls it, fire bullets. Now, this is, I mean, it's very good. I mean, if you don't have a Molotov or you don't have a gas can laying around and you got to deal with a tank, incendiary ammo gets the job done, except with one small drawback is that the fire from incendiary ammo doesn't last as long as Molotov fire or gas can fire because those last infinitely or basically until the enemy dies. Incendiary ammo does not do that. It only lasts for, I don't know how many seconds, but it lasts not as long, or doesn't last infinitely. But it's still useful to get that extra damage in if you ever need it. It's very powerful, very useful, and it's not like the explosive rounds where it can kill you. It only kills and
Yeah.
enemies. So it's definitely up there. I'll definitely put it at the top of B tier, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see next. All right, next up we have the axe. This is one of the melees I do use. The axe is very good, very useful. I usually keep this the entire campaign on dead center. Um, and same for pretty much any other campaign unless there's a katana. But yeah, axe is definitely one of the two melees I permanently use. Very useful. Has a very wide range. If you have a bunch of zombies like on your entire 360, if you just swing and turn your mouse, you pretty much delete every single zombie
Yeah,
in your little box circle. So I mean, I would just say it's like S tier probably.
yeah, S tier,
Very
definitely
good
there.
melee weapon. Definitely up there.
Alright, next up we have fireworks, which are basically only, I think, found in Dark Carnival's finale. It's similar to that
Yeah.
of a gas can. You shoot it, it explodes, and then creates a little bit of fire. Useful, but just like a gas can, it can kill you pretty well. Not to mention, when you start the stage finale in Dark Carnival, it shoots out fireworks from the stage. Those can also deal damage to you and also very much kill you. Uh, but it's definitely, it's basically just a reskinned gas can, except with a little bit more of like a effect to it. When it explodes, it just creates a bunch of like sparkles and firework
Yeah.
effects and everything. So overall, it's basically just like basically ranking a gas can, and gas cans are very powerful in this game. So I have to give it at the bottom of A tier, I'd say.
Yes, definitely. Alright, next up we have the GOAT, the med kit. I mean, I don't really have to say anything. It's the lifesaver. If you're on your last life, you're safe if you have one of these. You get one in every safe room. You pretty much have a guaranteed one the entire camp. And then you screw up and everybody needs one.
Yep.
But definitely an S tier item.
Yes, definitely.
Very useful, very life-saving, and just all around good player.
All right, now we have the frying pan. Now this one, I enjoy the frying pan. If I ever find the frying pan, I always
Oh
pick it up
god.
because it's funny. It doesn't have the best stats. It probably has like some of the worst stats probably out of any other melee. It probably is like on par with the crowbar when it comes to stat wise. But it is always funny just to hit zombies with frying pan, so it gets sympathetic points for me. Yeah, just bonus points because it's funny. But I mean, I still gotta be like a little bit more honest, so I'll just put it at the very bottom of B tier. So
Yeah.
you know,
Alright, next up we have the regular gas can. Definitely useful, especially on No Mercy, because apparently on the roof there's just a bunch of propane tanks and gas cans laying around, and it's definitely not a waste. We don't really have to use any Molotovs because we
yes.
pretty much get guaranteed 2 to 4 gas cans. So
Yeah,
very useful. It literally is just a Molotov that you have to shoot.
basically, yeah.
Unless you have terrible aim. It's very good. So I would just give it an A tier, better than the fireworks.
Yeah, I'll put it right.
So
I'll put
yeah,
it above the boomer bile. Next up, we have the goat itself, the gnome.
the
It's basically
gnome.
only found, I think, like literally ever only found on Dark Carnival, and it definitely has something special to it. It's not just like a whatever, like kind of like the Coke bottle where you just use it or just have it to complete a mission. You can use it. However, this thing is a special tie to it, where if you have it the entirety of Dark Carnival, because you get it from completing a mini game in the second
Yes,
chapter of
second
Dark.
chapter.
You can get the gnome, and if you bring it and carry it with you throughout the rest of the Dark Carnival, you get an achievement for it. So that's definitely something if you want to spice up your Dark Carnival experience. Not to mention the fact that you just get to carry a gnome around is pretty funny, kind of like the frying
And
pan.
you get the achievement.
Yeah, you do. So definitely bottom of B tier, better than the frying pan because it's also
Yeah.
funny.
Sometimes it can be kind of an asshole to
He
say.
can.
Alright, next up we have the golf club. Golf club is one of the melees I sometimes use. It's not the ones that I barely use, but it is one that I use on the occasion. I usually use this on the sacrifice or any of the just Left 4 Dead 1 campaigns, because you don't really find katanas or axes and Left 4 Dead 1. I always see the golf club though, and it definitely is not terrible. I think it has the best range besides the katana, but kind of satisfying to use, pretty good all around. But I still would use the others more than the golf club, but definitely not terrible. I would say top of B tier at least.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah.
All right, next up we have the good old grenade launcher. It's kind of like I've always categorized it to be part of the big three, which is like these three like more rare weapons that consist of a rifle, the submachine gun, and of course the grenade launcher. They're more of the rare, least common, least found items, and the grenade launcher lives up to its name for being very powerful, with one small limitation, kind of like the chainsaw. It has limited uses. It can only be used 31 times because you cannot refill its ammo. But it's definitely very powerful, good at dealing hordes. It's pretty good against tanks. I mean, if I don't remember exactly if you can put on incinerate ammo on this thing, because if you can, then it's absolutely broken because you basically just have a flamethrower basically. But it's overall pretty balanced weapon because it's high damage. It takes a while to reload because it's a single shot weapon like most sniper rifles. But it's definitely good. I'll put it at the bottom of A tier.
I would agree. What do we do? Yeah, the grenade launcher. Next up we have the guitar. I don't know why I'm getting all the melees, but guitar is definitely interesting. You pretty much only find this on Dark Carnival. You can sometimes find this in campaigns like the Parish and some other one I forgot. But same as I'm always gonna say, this isn't like the top three that I use. But it definitely is up there with the golf club. I would use the guitar until I find a good one. I would just put it right behind the good old golf club.
Alright, next up we have the main submachine gun SMG. This one is an interesting one. It's very good. There's actually a small chance of you spawning or getting it at the very start of a campaign. It's pretty useful if you get it like at the start of a campaign. It's really good as an early game weapon. Sometimes you can last with it till the end of it. It's not like something that's like good enough to be like on par with like the weapons that you get on in the late game, but it can definitely be useful. It has its uses, but it also has its limitations as well. Definitely a good weapon. I'd put it at the top of B tier, I'd probably say.
Yeah, not terrible at all.
Yep.
All right, next up we have the hunting rifle. The hunting rifle definitely is something I barely use.
Yeah.
I really only use this in the first chapter of Dark Carnival when we get up to that highway sign, and then I drop it. Usually when I get to the safe room or I find a better weapon. I don't really use it. It
Yeah.
has a 15 bullet magazine size. It's not terrible, but it's not the best. I would say top of C tier.
Yeah, definitely would agree with that. Next up, we have Katana. Katana is definitely
Woo!
like one of the better ones. It's basically, as I consider it, also to be part of like a big like trio or three with also alongside the fire axe and also spoiler alert, the machete.
Yes.
It's very good, has very good range. It doesn't deal as good as the axe when it comes to hordes, but it definitely gets the job done very, very, very well. It's not also the most common thing. I mean, you can find it. It's definitely a weapon you can find, but it's not as like easily to be found as like a crowbar or the fire axe even. But it's still definitely up there. I would personally, like myself, would put it at the very top of A tier, borderline S tier.
Oh yeah, I agree. Definitely has its limitations sometimes. Actually no, it doesn't. But whatever. Next up, we have the combat knife. Yeah, I don't need to say anything about it.
Yeah, this thing is not the best. It has.
I don't think I've ever picked it up.
I
Maybe
remember
one
I
time for
remember
a
I
meme.
picked it up at one. I remember I picked it up at one point, and it's decent. It's not the best.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Yeah, I'll probably put it in C tier. I mean, it's not useless. Next up, we have both of the turrets. I'll do the minigun one. Minigun one. I've mostly only seen it in I think it was only Left 4 Dead 1 campaigns. I think is where this one mostly is found. Let's see here. Yeah, mostly just Left 4 Dead 1 is where you find the minigun turret. I mean, it's basically just having a minigun turret. Basically, you just shoot it, deals a lot of damage, but it has the one drawback is that it overheats. It has infinite ammo though, but again, the overheating, where it kind of just disables it for like a second or two before using it again. In my opinion, I've always used. I mean, on the occasions whenever I play No Mercy, I use it whenever dealing with a tank if I'm able to get in range of it or close enough where I can just absolutely melt it in the head. It's very good, but again, like the majority of like other like really good weapons, it has its limitations. And it's just an overall. It's basically just a turret. So honestly, I just put it at the top of C tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, next up, in my opinion, the better turret. This literally is only on Swamp Fever. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Maybe
I don't
it's
remember
somewhere
it
else.
being.
I forgot.
I don't remember it being
I think
anywhere
it's in
else.
Left. Yeah, I think it's in Left 4 Dead 1 somewhere. I can't really remember. But definitely a useful tool for Swamp Fever. It pretty much insta kills a zombie. Like it explodes them.
Yeah,
But again, there is overheating, unfortunately, and it does take a while to not overheat, like to cool down, I guess. Definitely not the best, but I would say just C tier.
yeah.
Nothing too crazy.
Yep.
So yeah.
Next up, we have one of the only few last technically deployable items, I guess you can say, but you can kind of just find it around, and that's the laser sight upgrades. I don't exactly remember. I think it just gives you like slightly better accuracy. I don't know exactly what the laser sight upgrade does, but for some reason it's good, and it's pretty useful. The only times I truly remember just constantly finding it, obviously, is has a 100% chance to spawn in Whitaker's gun shop in Dead Center in the street chapter or street level. I mean, it's pretty good, I guess. It's basically just an upgrade, kind of just like the incendiary ammo and the explosive rounds. So, I'll just put it like near the top of B tier, I guess.
Yeah. Alright, next up we have the I believe I forgot what the actual gun is called, but that's the actual Godgun. Has 150 or 60
150 bullets, I think.
rounds.
150 rounds.
150?
Yeah, 100
Okay.
rounds.
150 rounds in the magazine. I think it also same as the turret on Swamp Fever, pretty much insta kills. But like again, limitation. It only has 150 rounds, and it probably only lasts one chapter, maybe two, for a campaign. But it's not terrible. It's still pretty good. I would just put it top of B tier for
Yeah,
me.
definitely agree with.
Top of B tier.
Definitely agree with that one. And now we have the perfect love triangle. We have to finish it off the machete. The machete, I've really only seen the find it on Blood Harvest. For some reason, I think
I
that.
always see it on Swamp Fever.
Oh, you see it on One Sweeper.
And well, yeah, that
Yeah. I usually only see it on Blood Harvest though, but it's definitely good. It doesn't have the range as like the machete, I mean not the machete, as the katana or the fire axe, but it makes up for damage. It definitely makes up for damage. It's very powerful, very useful. But it's technically like one of the more rare ones out of the three main melees. But I'll still put it right behind the katana in A tier.
yes, definitely one of the lower for the top three, but still a very useful one. Next up, we have the Magnum pistol. The Magnum is definitely better than the Peashooter and the dual pistols. But I wouldn't really use it for a second hand unless I'm like really wanting to and I'm feeling up for it and I don't want to use an actual melee.
Yeah.
But it's definitely better than the Peashooters, so I would just put it in C tier.
Yeah,
Right?
I'll put it right at the top. Next up, we have probably one of the best, definitely the best throwable item in the game, the Molotov. You can just throw it, sets everything on fire. However, it has the caution or ability to basically wipe your entire team if you accidentally throw it, and at like a tank and everything. I mean, you throw it at a tank is basically what it's most known for, just throwing it at a tank and then just watching it absolutely just demolish a tank's health. Very
Yeah.
useful, but again, it does at the risk of you accidentally cooking your entire team if you accidentally get in the flames of it. And to say that we have not died to it would basically be a lie. We have definitely died to a
Yes.
Molotov.
And apparently, for some reason, when you throw it, the bots will just stand in it and die for no reason. Like
Yeah,
you'll
that's
throw
also
it and
funny.
they'll just become a barbecue.
Yeah, but it is still definitely very useful. I'll put it at the very top of A tier though.
All right, next up we have the oxygen tank. I don't really find this useful. It's definitely one of the, I think it's the least useful out of the gas cannon propane tank
Mhm.
and fireworks. But it's definitely better than our good old flammable tank here in
Yeah.
D tier.
Yeah.
Because I guess it kind of acts like a pipe bomb. For some reason, it attracts zombies, but like again, it literally as soon as you shoot it, you have like 1.5 seconds before it explodes.
Yeah.
So it's really only useful if you have one in the middle of a horde, and I don't
Yeah.
think I would ever be in that situation.
Yeah.
So I would just put it in bottom of C tier.
Yeah, bottom of secret. There we go. Next up, we have pills. Basically, in other words, the saving grace item. This thing, the pills are very useful item to find if you ever find yourself without a med kit, without like basically anything else to give you health, and you're like surrounded and you need like the quick bit of health, and all of a sudden you pull out pills, gives you temporary health. It's very useful to basically just get some quick health if you find yourself in a pinch. They're mostly found in med kit like cabinets and stuff you find throughout the map, not in like safe rooms, but in like the smaller cabinets and like smaller like outpost rest areas
Yeah.
or whatever. But they're definitely useful. They're very, very powerful and very useful to use. I'll put it right above the adrenaline in A tier.
All right. Next up, we have the pipe bomb, the last throwable of the three. Pipe bomb definitely is up there with the boomer bile and the Molotov, but I do think that it is just a little bit worse than the boomer bile because the boomer bile is the better attracting um, zombie throwable for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Pipe bomb is still useful though. I'm not dissing on it at all. I just think the boomer bile is way more useful in attracting them. So I would just put it right behind the boomer bile in front of the fireworks.
Right there. All right. Next up, we have the normal Peashooter. Oh boy. Now,
Oh
there's two
boy.
things we're gonna be ranking here. At least since I'm gonna be the one that ranking this. We have Left 4 Dead 1's and Left 4 Dead 2's Peashooter. In my opinion, Left 4 Dead 1's Peashooter is like 1,000 times better than the Left 4 Dead 2 version. Or I don't know. Maybe it's just the design just makes it seem a lot cooler in the first game, so it just triggers something in our brains to like, oh my god, this thing's incredible.
Yeah.
And Left 4 Dead 2, it's like a square box with a handle, so
Literally.
like it basically is.
I'd
uh,
rather have the Glock with no flashlight than the flashlight pistol.
for real though, but I mean, it does have its uses. If I mean, obviously, when you're down, it's the only weapon you can use because you can't use your primary weapon. You can only use a pistol. So in certain situations, it can be useful if you are like in like if you literally are like ask like if you're doing a challenge run where you can only use the pistol, that'll be probably one of the only times you could like mainly use it, because
Yeah.
usually it just gets outclassed by literally everything, including the deagle and dual pistols. So we'll probably have to put it like at the very bottom of C tier.
Yeah. Next up, we have the propane tank. Definitely not the best whatever explosive device. But it is better than our good old oxygen tank. Um, I just I it is on No Mercy, and we will use it. We will throw it out into the open to use, and it kind of acts like the pipe bomb explosion, so it's not terrible. I mean, I would just put it in like maybe like top four of B tier. It's not
Tough
terrible.
yeah. I'll put it in the third.
A
Next up, we
third.
have the classic pump shotgun, which, in my opinion, outside of the combat or the last shotgun that we still have on the rank, in my opinion, it's definitely like second best shotgun. It's very powerful, However, it does have the drawback that it shoots the slowest out of every shotgun, but again, it makes up for that high amounts of damage and has decent spread as well. So it hits a lot when it in horde. So
Yeah.
it's very useful to use. Not to mention you can get it like basically right away if your luck is right. You can get it instantly, like at the start of almost every campaign, making it that much more useful. So I would definitely have to say put it like at the very bottom of A tier for sure. Actually, wait, no,
What is that? I can't even see what that next one is.
oh, that's the M60. That's the normal assault rifle.
Uh, is it now?
Yes.
No, oh, it is. Okay, all right. Next up, we have the M16. I made a whole short on this.
Mhm.
Definitely a little bit worse than the AK, but it does get the job done. I will use this. I mean, it's not something I wouldn't use. But again, the AK is just a smidge better. So I mean, I would just put it right behind the AK
All
in front of
right.
the pump shotgun.
And to finish off this rifle trio, we have the burst rifle or the desert rifle, whatever you want to call it, the SCAR even if you want to. According to Jack Short, it is technically damage-wise the best rifle because
Yes,
it does like what 132 damage.
pretty much.
Yeah, so it's very powerful. However, I don't find myself like ever using it. I remember like when I first started playing, I picked it up a lot because I thought it was good because obviously it was good. But I never I never seem to find myself picking it up even if I do like find it because for some reason I don't never really seem to find it, and when I do, I just don't pick it up like at all. I prefer to use the AK or normal M60, but on account of the fact that it's much better damage wise than both of the other rifles, I will definitely have to say to put it right above the AK in this one.
Yes. Next up, we have the shove. Doesn't do any damage, but it is kind of a lifesaver. When you need some breathing room.
Hmm.
And I mean, that's pretty much all it's useful for. But it does stop jockeys and hunters. It will stun them, and then you can get an easy kill. So it's definitely life-saving sometimes. So I'll just say A tier, probably bottom of A tier.
Bottom of A tier. All right. Next up, we have the other weapon that me and Jack called the Godgun. I forgot what it's called, like the
The M60.
Yeah, the M60 rifle. This one, it's also kind of a rare one. However, out of like the big three like rarer weapons, this one has one good thing about it is the fact that unlike the machine gun and the grenade launcher, this one you can replenish ammo with, and it's very useful because of that. And of course, there isn't necessarily on any campaign a way to 100% get it, except for the street level in Dead Center in Whittaker's video, in the Whittaker short that I uploaded on the channel. I actually briefly mentioned how you can get this every single time inside of the little room inside of Whittaker's shop. So if you're ever a big fan of this gun, it's definitely worth it. Just go find it. However, it's very powerful. It's a very powerful weapon. It has high damage. It's basically just like the M16, but a little bit better. Not to mention you can basically aim with it. So I'll put it right in front of the M16 for that one.
Yes. Alright, next up we have the silent submachine gun. Very basic weapon. You usually find this at the start of every campaign, unless it's the Uzi.
Yeah.
And I like the silence. And I do like the silence SMG just a smidgen better because it sounds cooler, looks cooler, and I just think it is a better gun. But it's not the best, obviously, because there are better weapons. But for a starter weapon, not terrible. So I would put it in like smack dab middle of B tier.
Right there. All right. Next up, we have the scoped rifle, another weapon that I don't think either of us really use like ever.
I use it a lot.
You use it a lot?
Yeah,
You do? Oh,
I
shit.
have a modded skin of it.
Oh, of course you do. I don't, at least personally, find myself using it a whole bunch. I mean, I do use it from time to time, but if I
Yeah.
see it and I have like already a good rifle in my hand, I don't normally pick it up. But if like a situation calls for it where I gotta like snipe something from like halfway across the map, I'll definitely use this over like any other sniper rifle. I always like at one point I always used it against tanks to get like really clean headshots and everything with it. They get a lot more damage. But it definitely has its uses, and however I just don't use it a whole lot. But I'm pretty sure Jack would probably rank this higher. I would personally myself put it at the bottom of A tier.
Yeah. All right, next up we have the frick, which one is it? The auto or
Yeah,
the combat?
I think it's the
I can't remember which
combat.
one, but I do like this one better than the other powerful shotgun. I guess I'll just call it the spaz.
Yeah.
Spaz shotgun is definitely, I think, better than the other powerful one. Um, I actually think it does just like 2 less damage, but it doesn't really matter because they literally both are pretty much the same. But I like this one better, so I
Yeah.
would put it literally probably just right behind the adrenaline, in front of the Desert Eagle.
All right, nice. Next up, we have the final sniper rifle, and this is the one that me and Jack actually like because of how absolutely useless it is. It's probably the worst sniper rifle in the
Yeah.
game. But yet, whenever we see it, we always like to pick it up as a joke, and it's absolutely hilarious. It's absolutely like
It
it's
is.
hilarious to use because of how terrible it is. But if we're to be like absolutely jokey about it, we'd probably put it like bottom of B tier, top of C tier. But if we're being like realistic here, this is good. This thing goes like the very bottom of C tier, if not
Yeah.
borderline top of D tier.
Alright, next up we have the Nightstick. Is that
Yes,
the Nightstick? It
yeah, it
is.
is.
I really only see this on the Parish.
Yeah,
Definitely don't use it. One of the melees that I don't use. It's probably the
yeah,
one that I use the least.
uh,
Besides the crowbar. Definitely doesn't do as much damage, or I guess it does one shot, but it doesn't look like it does the most amount of damage, but like it's not terrible. But I would just put it right in front of the scout sniper in C tier.
all right, got it right there. There we go. And I mean, technically, we have two final things. I don't know what any melee is. I don't know what any melee is. So I guess we'll just end off with the Uzi, and the Uzi is kind of like the silenced SMG, where you can have a 50% chance of spawning it into the very start of a campaign. It's powerful. I think it does slightly more damage, though. I mean, I could be wrong on this, but it's basically just the silenced SMG, but just louder and does like 3 more damage. Uh, but yeah, it's definitely, if you just find it, if you get it at the start, it's definitely worth grabbing. It's very good. Has, I think, slightly better range as well than the silence one. But with that, I'm gonna put it right in front of the incendiary ammo. Basically, 2 things in front of the silence one. And I don't know what the any melee is. We'll just put any melee at the very top of S
S tier. Well,
tier.
if it's any melee, I could pick any melee, and I'd pick Katana. There we
Yay.
go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna wrap up our ranking every weapon slash item in Left 4 Dead 2. If you guys agree or disagree, let us know down in the comments. I'd like to see your opinions. I'm sure Camden would too.
Yes.
And yeah. So if you guys enjoy, make sure to like the video, and we'll see you in the next one.
Goodbye.